Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today's video is part 4 of our video series on how to practice scales. If you haven't seen those previous videos, I definitely recommend checking them out as each video builds on previous concepts. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so there's two main concepts that we have to understand and apply to what we've already learned and been practicing in order to be able to play scales without having these gaps in between. And the reason why we have those sort of gaps, or we play in two groups on the octave, is to make sure that we can exaggerate this forearm motion going back to the thumb, which is very important. Now those two aspects are the thumb coming under the hand, or the thumb tuck. I don't like that term because it makes people pull the thumb way under the hand, which makes the hand really tense. And the other aspect is that the arm has to shift on every single note. So a lot of times we think of the arm shifting when we have large intervals, say an octave, the arm shifts over. But when it comes to just stepwise motion, we also have to have that shifting motion in the arm, okay? So let's start with the thumb. There's two main things that we have to understand and do when we bring the thumb under the hand, okay? The first thing is that this thumb muscle right here needs to be very, very loose. Notice that when my thumb is relaxed, this muscle is very loose and supple. Now, the thumb can come under the hand to about behind the third finger, and this muscle is still loose, okay? It's not super tense. You can wiggle your fingers. It's not terribly difficult. In fact, it feels almost the same as if the thumb is just on the side of the hand, okay? But notice that if you pull the thumb way under the hand, that thumb muscle gets very tense, and then wiggling the fingers becomes very awkward and tense. Okay, that's often what people do. The second thing is that people often pull this end joint way over. That puts a lot of tension also in the tendons and the muscle in the hand. And just notice that makes your hand even more tense. Pull it way under the hand and then tip that joint in. That feels really awful. My wrist feels very tense and tight, okay? So those are the two things we want to avoid. Like I mentioned, however, the thumb can come under the hand to behind the third finger. So that's the first thing. The second thing, okay, is the arm has to shift. The rotational movement gets the thumb closer to its destination note, in this case, A. So I rotate to the left, right, right. That rotation gets me way closer. You can see that difference in the overhead camera. However, it won't get me all the way there. So if my thumb comes behind my third finger, it is virtually there, but it's not quite. The other thing I have to do is make sure that my arm shifts over, okay? So I'm aiming to make my arm straight into the keyboard the whole time, so it shifts like this, yeah? Okay, so combining those three aspects, rotation, the thumb coming under behind the third finger, but no farther, and also that joint not pulling in, and the arm shifting on every single note. Notice if I do this, do you see how my arm shifts? If I put my finger here, you can probably see a little bit better. See how my whole hand and arm shift over. Now that's a novelty idea to a lot of people because I know for myself, when I was younger, I was never taught that, but that is super, super important, okay? When you combine those together, then you can have that rotation, left, right, right. Thumb came under, my arm shift over, then I'm right here. I'm right there, okay? Now, thumb comes under, I use rotation, shift, shift, my arm comes over, and then I'm right there, okay? That makes playing these scales really easy and smooth. Okay, etc. Now, I would recommend practicing that starting with contrary motion. So starting in the middle of the keyboard and going apart. So left hand down, right hand up. And the reason why I would do that is that the hands are basically just a mirror image of each other, okay? Now I would avoid scales like B major, okay? Because here I go 1, 2, 3, thumb, but left hand I go 1, 2, 3, 4, then thumb, okay? Which is not impossible to do, of course, but the problem is that I'm doing different things in each hand, and when I'm trying to work all these concepts into my playing, it's very difficult to get that if I'm doing different things in each hand. So I would avoid keys like B major for starters, F major. So I would pretty much just start by sticking with the white key majors except for B major and B minor. Then what I would do is once those feel really, really good, I would add the white key minors of those other keys that you first learned. Then I would go to the flat keys and relative minors. I generally like practicing scales starting with, say, the white key majors, then do relative minors, then go to the flat keys, and then do the relative minors of those. But starting playing contrary motion, I'm a big believer in that. I think that works really, really well because, like I said, your hands are mirror images of each other. And then also starting with, of course, the keys that will allow you to do that. So not keys where you won't be a mirror image. Now, these two concepts combined with everything else that we went over in parts 1 through 3 are really the essential ingredients of learning how to play scales really fast and fluent and really well. And I am actually proof of that. I remember when I was younger, I could only play scales up to about 108. And even then, they weren't smooth and buttery like everyone, it's everyone's goal to play, right? They were not good. They were bad. I had so much tension. Just playing 2 notes was tense and awkward. So this has enabled me to be able to play very fast and smooth and fluent, and it can help you as well. All right, guys, so that's it for this one. I hope all of that information was interesting and informative. If you have any questions or comments, don't forget to put those in the comments down below. I always love hearing from you. Also, if you haven't done so already, consider subscribing so you don't miss any future uploads. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.